So does it really matter who starts for the Florida Gators at quarterback in 2026?
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. And I'm Brandon Olson, by the way. Obviously, we know this, right? We've been here before. We're taking a little bit of a different approach to today's episode. It's more of a discussion, right? And I do want comments. I do want you in the chat. If you're in the chat, go ahead, say something. But yeah, I want you to leave comments, and I want to get a feel for this of, does it really matter who starts for the Florida Gators at quarterback? And look, this is to say, yes, of course, it obviously does matter, at least to an extent, in the sense of whoever starts is going to determine a lot of things about this game, a lot of things about this team this year. And so, yes, that does matter. Obviously, the candidates here that we are only talking about, so I will say that, don't come in here talking about Will Griffin or Aiden Warner, right? Like, they're not options. This is a two-man race, and it's Aaron Philo and Tramell Jones. And so I did want the discussion piece because, look, I've never been shy about it. I hang out in Twitter spaces with people, right? I hear the conversations all day, every day, about who should be the starting quarterback, what the battle is like, all that fun stuff, right? But when it comes down to it, I think, does it matter? Do you feel as though Florida's actually going to win more games with one guy at quarterback, or not? And part of this was also the conversation that we had here with Brooks Austin. I don't know, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had Brooks Austin on the show. And he mentioned, Florida's success on the season. And he mentioned part of that confidence in Florida was his confidence in Aaron Philo. And Brooks Austin has always been an Aaron Philo guy. This is not a new thing. This is not once he came to Florida thing. Like this is always a thing. Brooks Austin Brooks even says like, hey, I'm not unbiased when we talk about this. And so I think that it did help spark this thought. I'm gonna say, like, does it actually matter? Because Brooks is very high on Aaron Philo. And when he mentioned Aaron Philo starting, I posed the question of, okay, does your win total for the season for Florida change if, let's say the hypothetical is that, hey, Aaron Philo does not win the starting quarterback job and it is instead Tramell Jones? Do you then go, okay, well, I'm not as confident in Tramell Jones, and so I'm going to say that they're actually going to lose more games or win fewer games, however you want to phrase it. It's the same thing. So if Tramell starts, then I'm actually going to say I feel less confident in the entire team. And therefore, I think they win less games. But instead, Brooks's answer was, well, no, because I feel really good about Aaron Philo. And if Tramell Jones plays well enough and is good enough to win the starting quarterback competition over Aaron Philo, then why would I feel less confident, right? Which does make you think, right? Because I think that everybody has like their camp, right? At this point, there's a lot of people that want Tramell. There's a lot of people that want Aaron Philo. There's some people that just go, hey, like, I don't care who it is as long as you win, which is the camp that I'm in, right? Of like, I don't care who it is as long as you win. But even being in that camp, I still have a preference. Again, so I do think most people have kind of come to this conclusion of like, this is who I want. I've started phrasing it as like, okay, who do you want? Who do you think it's going to be? And like I said, like personally, I don't think we've seen enough from either quarterback to really say like, oh, I know what I have in him. Right. And we could say that, hey, Buster knows what he has in Philo. He's been with him for a couple of years. That's cool. I'm not Buster Faulkner. So I don't know what we have in Aaron Philo here. Like I kind of know what I'm looking at, right? But do I know everything about him? No. And so for the people that do think Aaron Philo, the people that do think Tramell Jones, especially for those of you that have again, I think that there's a lot of people that go, oh, like I'd prefer this player, but like whoever it is whoever it is. But there are, I think, some people that are like, it's Aaron Philo is the guy, or Tramell Jones is the guy. So for that camp, especially, if it's not the guy that you want, does that change your win total projection for the year? And we're going to talk about how things can change when we get back with Locked On Gators. Running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place, helping your team move faster, stay organized, and focus on growing the business instead of managing software. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent, it's about having everyone working toward the same goal. And that's true in sports just like it is in business. Great organizations win because operations matter. And that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free today at odoo.com/locked-on. That's ODOO.com/locked on. And support for today's episode comes from Indeed Sponsored Jobs. When workplace chaos hits and you need the right hire, Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps connect employers with candidates who match specific needs like skills, certifications, and locations. So less time gets spent searching and more time gets spent finding the right fit. People are finding quality hires on Indeed right now. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed worldwide, according to Indeed data. So spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes. That's less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And if you're a listener of Locked On Gators, you can get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Tell them Locked On Gators sent you. That's Indeed.com/podcast, singular. Terms and conditions apply. If you need to hire, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. Who wins the conference? Who's making the college football playoff? Who's lifting the trophy at the end of the season? Who's going to pick up the Heisman in New York? On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. Live market, meaning that on Kalshi, you're trading against peers. There's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position, trade the draft pick, the game, and more on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app and use code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade $10. KALSHI, Kalshi, trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free reviews of podcasts and on YouTube. And when we're talking about how the starting quarterback changes this season, I do think that, again, there's a very valid argument of, well, if you beat out the guy that I have a preference for, then maybe you're better than him, and that shouldn't change my win total. There is also I want to say the camp to think about of play style, where I'm just going to use hypotheticals like Aaron Philo is going to be more stable, right? Which means that the way that I think about it, when I think of like a quarterback that's fairly stable and no volatility, which is, by the way, when I say stable, I mean like there's no like, oh yeah, he's passing for 250 per game and the occasional like 400, right? I mean like every game you're between 225 and 275 per, right? just to throw numbers out there. And that's that. 225 to 275 per, 2 touchdowns and a pick every other game, right? Let's just say that. So 24 touchdowns, 6 picks. That's how you're going to end the year. That kind of stability is nice, right? It means that you're probably not going to fold games that you shouldn't fold. Like, you're probably not going to lose to an FAU or a South Carolina if you're like me and you think Florida is considerably better than South Carolina, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Florida State, right? Like, the games where Florida should win, you're going to win. However, that also does mean that you're probably not getting hero ball heroics against an Ole Miss, Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma, and you're probably going to lose those games, right? It's with that kind of stability. You win the games you're supposed to win. You lose the games you're supposed to lose, based on Vegas is how I'm using it. However, you could say like, hey, Tramell might be more volatile, but that does mean you're more likely to pop Ole Miss, Texas, Georgia. But on the flip side of that, if you are more volatile, that means that you might have a game where you complete 45% of your passes, 120 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks, and you lose to a team that you shouldn't lose to, like a Kentucky or Vanderbilt, right? And I'm not saying that this is Aaron Philo or Tramell specifically. Like, personally, I think that Aaron Philo is actually more of the risk taker. I just think that his arm doesn't, it's not compatible with that mentality. And I think Tramell Jones does have the arm, but we haven't really seen him like uncork it yet. He's kind of just been like, all right, I'm going to take what's there. And I also think part of that was, he was playing behind DJ Lagway last year, who was turning the ball over, and he's probably like, hey, let me just not do that. Right? Let me just not do that part, and I think people will be cool with me. And so I do think that there's a difference, but that's where the wins come, right? Does that necessarily change the number of wins? Like, if you're more likely to win in upset fashion and you're more likely to lose in upset fashion, can we just say like, hey, there's probably going to be a pretty balanced trade-off there. So that's what I mean. Like, I do think that part of it is going to matter in terms of how the wins come and how the team looks. But when you get into the actual conversation, like I'll say like the nitty gritty of, does it change your win total? I don't think so. And this is also, I'm going to be clear about this. Like I've said, like, I don't think we really know what we have in either option, but I'm not exactly enamored with either option either. Like, I'm not someone that's just like, oh yeah, like I'm not in love with either of them, or like, I don't care who starts as long as you win, but I really think Tramell would change everything. Like, I don't know. I like him, right? Like I've said before, like, Tramell's my preference, but really it's based on a very small sample size. We don't know much about either of these guys right now. So I do think that maybe how the product actually looks varies. Maybe the points vary. Maybe touchdowns, turnovers, maybe all that varies, but does it change your wins? Or does it change how many wins you get? Because again, if you feel like, let's say you are someone that feels really confident in Aaron Philo or Tramell Jones, and it's not that guy, do you now go, okay, well, I was really confident that Aaron Philo was really good, but instead Tramell Jones got the job. That must mean that Tramell Jones is really good. Or are you someone that goes, okay, they don't know what they're doing then? Like I said, this is a different episode than we've normally done. This is not me preaching to you. This is, I kind of enjoy this of just like presenting the options, talking about them a little bit. And I want to hear everybody's thoughts on them. So, do you think that wins change, and I mean the number of wins change, depending on who the starting quarterback is? Do you think that the product changes depending on who the starting quarterback is? Just out of curiosity on that. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olson. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work about the Florida Gators at swampsignal.substack.com. And as always, I will see you all next time.